Today I'll be showing you something I've been wanting to show off in a video for a while now, and that's a Beyblade that is so unstable that it's actually stable. I think it's pretty interesting. It's not a combo that I don't think was ever officially released, but I'll still be doing Beyblade physics on it, and that is Buster Xcalius X3 Convert Operate. And for a sample bay, I have Heat Salamander Convert Sword S. First of all, the layer, Buster Xcalius. The sword has some metal on it, and I'm specifically using the Hasbro version because, one, I don't have the Takara Tomy version anyway, but also, two, the metal... Like, the sword isn't completely metal like the Takara Tomy version. The metal is only on this front half of the sword, which offsets the weight even more, putting it more forward. And you can also push here so that the sword wiggles, and that can push the weight outward a little bit more, even for getting the weight on one side. The disc, I don't think it matters a whole lot, but I'm going to be using the Pro Series Convert disc. It has a little bit of metal on this one side here, so that connected to the plastic, so that when these arrows are not lined up, this metal lines up with this bit here that has a little bit less metal, and all in all, it makes it so that the disc has even weight distribution. But if I twist it around so that the arrows line up, then there's less metal on this side and more metal on this side, which makes it a little bit more heavy on this side. Or that's the idea anyway. It's such a little bit of metal that I'm not sure that it actually does very much performance-wise. There's a lot of other weight in this disc too, and the more weight you have evenly distributed, that's going to offset weight distribution, recenter it some. Like, what I mean is, like, if you have a lot of weight that is even, that's going to somewhat counteract any offset weight. But it still does a little bit, I guess, and it's a gimmick, so I'm gonna use it. Probably doesn't matter a whole lot. Like, I could use the non-Pro Series version, which is lighter, and it would still probably work fine, because a lighter disc, that's gonna be affected more by the offset weight of the layer as well. I'll go ahead and show off both when it's spinning. And the performance tip I'll be using is Operate. This is Operate Slingshot, so it can do that. That doesn't really matter, though. The thing with Operate is it can be centered. It's a ball tip, and it can be centered, but you can also offset it so that it's not in the center of the performance tip, which makes things interesting. So what I do is I line up the weighted end of the layer with the weighted end of the disc, convert, and I offset the tip. There we go. Offset it so that it is offset in the same direction that all the weight is centered on. And just watch what happens. 3, 2, 1, let it rip. See? It stays in the middle. Isn't that weird? For context, if I recenter the tip so that it's actually in the middle of the Beyblade, the weight is all on one side, so watch what happens. Let it rip. It moves around a lot more. And that would be what would normally happen, for example, if I, let's see, make it so the sword can't move, twists this back around so that the arrows aren't lined up, and I then off-center the tip, so that it is off-center again. That's what operate normally does. Wiggles around a lot. And there's another interesting thing that can be done with this as well, is that if I line up all the weight and offset the tip opposite the side that all the weight is on, then that'll make it even more jumpy, because it'll be spinning around this axis and the tip is way over here. So it's going to be really jumpy this way. As you can see, not great for stamina, but interesting nonetheless. And I suppose I'll show off if I just use the non-Pro Series convert and put operate towards the weighted end of the layer. This is what happens. It moves around a little more, but it's still fairly stable, as you can see. So I don't think the disc matters a whole lot, but for gimmick's sake, I'm using the Pro Series version. And now let's do a few sample battles with my Sample Bay Heat Salamander Convert Sword, Sword Slingshot, and Heat Salamander is in, let's see, 5-bladed mode? Yeah, that's 5-bladed mode. I prefer 5-bladed mode, personally. Yeah, all the weight is on one side, and the tip is offset. 3, 2, 1, let it rip. Tie. Am I sure the disc? Yeah, the disc is put that way. Xcalius was actually moving a little bit at the beginning there. I was surprised. 3, 2, 1, let it rip. So, you may want to keep in mind that Salamander is a left spin bay, whereas Xcalius is a right spin bay. That's counterclockwise and clockwise. But one of the interesting things with being offset and yet so stable is that, so normally Beyblades would spin like this, right? But this Beyblade spins like this. It's kind of like there's more mass on this side, actually. So that would actually increase attack power, even though if it's so stable. It's just very interesting. I'm going to turn the tip around so that you can see what happens if it's opposite the weighted end. Let it rip. See? No stamina. Well, I think that's pretty interesting. I hope you think so too. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.